In the 16th century, when the oceans were ruled by wooden ships and iron cannons, Africa bled in silence. The village of Columba rested near the great river, where children played under the burning sun and elders told stories of ancestors and spirits. Life was simple, proud, and deeply rooted in tradition, until the white sails appeared on the horizon. They came from the sea, white men with pale faces, strange tongues, and weapons that thundered like angry gods. At first, they smiled. They offered mirrors, beads, and cloth, pretending to be traders. But behind their smiles lived hunger, hunger for gold, land, and human bodies. One night, fire swallowed Columba. The sound of drums was replaced by screams. Homes burned as armed men stormed the village. Those who resisted were shot or cut down. The old were killed without mercy. The young and strong were chained like animals. Among them was Kofi, a 17-year-old boy whose only crime was being strong enough to survive. His mother fell while protecting him, her blood staining the soil that had raised generations. Kofi was dragged away, iron biting into his wrists, his tears swallowed by the darkness. The captives were marched for days, barefoot, starving, beaten for slowing down. White overseers rode horses, cracking whips as if human pain was entertainment. Africans were no longer seen as people, only as cargo. At the coast, massive ships waited like monsters. The smell of death filled the air. Hundreds were packed into dark holds, chained shoulder to shoulder, unable to move, breathe, or pray. Disease spread quickly. Some died. Others wished they would. Kofi watched bodies thrown into the sea like garbage. The Middle Passage was hell without fire, only darkness, sickness, and despair. White sailors laughed above deck, while below Africans cried for freedom, for God, for death. Women were violated. Men were whipped until their backs opened like wounds in the earth. Months later, those who survived were sold in foreign lands. Names were stolen. Languages were forbidden. Families were torn apart. Kofi became Thomas, owned by a man who believed his white skin made him superior. But chains cannot erase memory. At night, Kofi whispered his real name to the stars. He remembered Columba. He remembered his mother's voice. And in his heart, resistance lived quietly, waiting. The white men thought they had won, but they did not know this truth. You can enslave a body, but never a soul. And centuries later, the world would hear the echoes of Africa's pain and its strength.